So here we have overhauled the gear pump. All the parts are separated here. This is the main drive shaft. This is the driven gear. Then we have the bushes, 4 bushes, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom side. Here the important thing to note is that the lubrication, this serration or these holes, and inside we can see there is a groove that is for the oil to enter into this space and thereby lubricate the gears so that we do not seize the gears. So that's how. So when we are boxing up, all we have to note is that the holes are from the towards the gear on both the bushes. When we are boxing up, here also, like we have these markings, these grooves will go towards the gear and not away from the gear. Another thing that we have to be careful about in the casing is the proximity switch that is fitted it is as close to the drive shaft. It is measuring the RPM of our horizontal shaft. Then this is our relief mechanism, relief valve. As we know, in the gear pump we are required to have a relief valve for the safety. So how this arrow shows the normal direction of the oil flow. That means the oil is flowing from my right hand towards my left hand, and if there is an obstruction on the discharge side, then the oil from this will enter into this space and this will pull up against the spring. As you can see, there is a valve which is seated against the spring force. So when this pressure increases on the discharge side oil pressure will lift the valve against the spring and release the oil back into the suction side. So this will keep on circulating till our discharge side is the obstruction on the discharge side is reduced. So this is it. Okay, so now we are going ahead with the checks. What all checks we will do on the bushes and the gears. So here we have taken the gear, here we have taken the bush, and if we closely inspect this one, we can see that there is a scoring mark on the inside of the bush. We can feel it with our finger also, and also by the coloration. So, and this is only onto the one side, so we will not use this particular bush. We will inspect the other bush similarly. Here also we see that there are lining marks inside of the bush. That means this is due to the lack of lubrication and this can damage our gears. So we can see this lining marks and grooving on the inside part of the bush. Okay. Similarly, we will inspect the other gears also. This bush seems in a little bit better condition, but it is advisable that when we are changing the bush, we change it in a pairs. We do not change it one piece like that. Again, in this bush we can see a lot of scratch marks from the in the inside. I can feel it on my finger also. So we will discard these bushes. Another check that we will do on the gears is to measure this shaft where the bush will sit. So I am getting around 24.81 at one place, 24.80, 24.83. Then I will check towards the drive shaft, towards the pump. So this is 24.95, 24.88, 24.96. Now we will check the ID of this bush. Although we will be discarding this one because of the scoring mark, but let's check how much is the ID. So here I can see the ID is around 25.02, 24.98, 25.01. So therefore we are getting a clearance of about 0.2 mm. Similarly, on the non-drive shaft, non-drive gear, I am checking the OD for the bush sitting place. So this is 24.74, 24.7, 24.75, and I will check the ID of the bush that will be sitting there. So here I am getting around 25.01, 24.97, 25.03. So in this case, on the non-drive gear, I am actually getting a clearance of about 0.35, 0.4. So we will certainly discard this bushes. So another check on the gears, the drive gear and the driven gear, is to check for any scoring marks or any pitting or heavy erosion of the gears. Normal wear and tear will always be there. If it is smooth, it is fine, but if we find some pitting mark or heavy erosion, then we have to discard these gears. So to me, this gears look, this particular gear is looking fine, although it is old one, but the surface is smooth and there is no any serration or great wear marks on that one. Now I will check the non-drive gear. Here also I can see there are wear marks, but they are probably not that high, and the surface is smooth and it is not kind of an erosion or pitting erosion. I cannot see there. So even this gear is okay to reuse. Another thing that we can check is the mating. Do we have any play? We try to move these gears up and down. I am trying to move this gear up and down once it is seated, and I cannot find much clearance. So that means this is not too much worn out. So we can reuse these two gears. So one more check that we can do on these two mating gears is by trying to pass the light through this one. So if these gears are too much worn out, we may find the light passing from one gear to the other. So we will test here and try to turn and observe if I am getting any light onto the other side. So I am not actually getting. So that means these gears are mating perfectly and they are not eroded that much. Now if we have to change the proximity switch for the RPM pickup, suppose your this pickup sensor is faulty and we want to renew it, because without this particular sensor working we cannot operate our purifier. So before removing the old proximity sensor, we need to measure the distance. We will measure the distance from this locking bolt till the end. Like in my case, I am getting around 20.98 mm, right? So once we fix the new proximity sensor, so we need to keep this distance same. Further important thing to note is that from here till the drive shaft, I can just show this one. So our drive shaft will go from here. So the distance between the proximity switch and the drive shaft cannot be more than 0.5 mm as per the manual. Yeah. So we have to keep this. So we have to keep this proximity switch as close to this main drive shaft as possible, but should not be less than 0.3 to 0.5 mm, because if it is less than that, then it will touch the shaft and it may get damaged. So if during any operation we find that this one is broken and we don't know the distance, then how to go about that one? Then we get the new proximity sensor, we fully screw in till it touches the shaft, and then we open it by around a half turn. So that will be giving you approximately 0.5 mm distance from the shaft. So another part in the in our gear pump is this oil seal, which is preventing the oil or the medium that this pump is pumping to move out from towards the shaft. That means it is sealing this shaft. This one is sealing this shaft, and the oil present here is not being allowed to travel towards the shaft. But in our case we found that this oil seal was leaking, and if we can focus on this one, we can see this is hardened up and many places this seal is broken. So we can see many places the seal is broken, and that's why it is not sealing. So we will renew this also. Hello guys, if you like the video and you want to go for the purifier package, you can find the course link in the description box below.